Welcome to Flying for Flavor. Yay!
Yay! We're all like, there was a pause.
I'm busy getting food off the plate. The
official toast. It's the first time the three of us have been in the room together in way too long.
A while, yeah, too long.
But it's officially the first show of 2019. Yay! So for those of you who haven't, I'll go through a couple of things. I was originally planning to do a recap preview show all at the same time, and then we had too much stuff to share, too many things to talk about. It would have been like another 3-4 hour show. We can't keep doing that every time. We talk too much. So we thought it might be better to kind of break it up. So talk about 2018, the things that were, how the podcast developed maybe from January when we first sat down together the first time to where we were at the end of the year. How things progressed as we went along, some of the little highlights here and there. And then now, if you listened to that episode or watched it, now when you see what's going to come for 2019, it kind of makes more sense. That was kind of the idea I had. So a couple of things. The what are we drinking? Little Moet and Chandelle. It wouldn't be a proper New Year's celebration without bubbles. So this is actually one of my favorites. So cheers, everybody. I've had more bubbles in the last, last week. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Over the last couple of days, I've entertained quite a bit, and they won't tell you the empty bottle count.
No, but it's in the back of my car.
Because I donate the empties for her sons. Okay, so y'all going to have to hit up Cynthia to find out exactly how many bottles I went through.
It'll be our first contest of the year.
Guess how many bottles.
Guess
Guess how many empties she took out of my garage. That would be crazy. But yes, we went through a lot of bottles. And not to mention, Norm has a habit of, he'll go through and have a couple glasses of something, and then he'll say, I think I want Purple Angel. So that's how you ended up with Purple Angel last night. We had a bottle in our cellar, and he decides to go down. So we get up in the morning, and I'm like, what the?
We got here yesterday, there was like 5 bottles open.
I said, what would you like? She goes, I'll just give me whatever's open. You have to be more specific. We had like 4 reds. Like we had no bubbles. You said anything but red or bubbles. I said, well, I don't have the bubbles open, but I've got.
So we opened the bubbles. We did.
We drank that too.
Nice.
We did. That was the and. It wasn't an or situation. We did an and.
Absolutely.
Okay. So a couple of other things. So we're also having some gougères. You can't
For a video, you can't see it.
So if you're not familiar what gougères are, they are little cheese puffs. Mm-hmm. So they not only go really well with champagne or other kind of sparkling beverages, because there's usually cheese and stuff in them, of course, and they get cut with the bubbles, which is good. But the other cool thing is I like these as something different as opposed to crackers or little sandwiches with soups and stuff. So having a soup and then having little gougères, right? It's something light and it's something that's still starchy and soaking up whatever the broth is. So I happen to like them for that. You can fill them. If you make them sweet, they become like profiteroles. So you can do a French, you can make them savory or sweet, which is great. There's a lot of flexibility, and it's the same classic pâté choux or choux pastry recipe. You can use it for all of them. So I did a feature with CBC Radio for this between Christmas and New Year's. It actually just aired surprisingly on December 27th. I think it was out of CBC London, I believe. Anyways, I'm going to put the link in the show notes to the original audio interview. I think CBC Sudbury is going to replay it in a more local spin closer to Valentine's Day again, so you'll get it again. But because you're a listener and a viewer, you'll get the recipe now. So I'll have the audio thing plus the recipe on there so you can actually hear, because I actually had Wendy Bird from CBC Sudbury here in my kitchen. She shows up every year around December 1st to come and cook with me in my kitchen. So we were making the gougères. So I tackled this time, for the first time, these are gluten-free.
Really?
That's what she said. I know. So for all of you people during January or trying to eat a little healthier or trying to cut back on your wheat, or you may be having some wheat intolerance, this is just a classic. You can find many brands of this, a 1-to-1 ratio. In other words, it's a gluten-free flour mix that you can just swap in with your classic all-purpose flour in any recipe. So I had picked up a bag of this. I want to say it was like at Sobeys in Ottawa or someplace or whatever, and I brought it home. Because I have other gluten-free mixes or whatever, but it was an easy little zip-top bag, something quick, and I left it upstairs. Because I know Norm's always finding that he wants to kind of cut back on that kind of stuff. So I said, well, let's just give it a try. And I figured there's so many eggs in a classic choux pastry that the eggs are going to help it rise. So it just needs the flour just to hold it all together. And it worked.
Really good. I would have never guessed in a million years.
So now you can eat all of them.
Done. You guys are eating, that's it.
Anyways, they're really good with champagne, so I thought they were perfect for that. So let's go through the agenda. We have a lot to cover today, just of what's coming up 2019, and then we'll talk about the VIP lounge, where that's basically going to be it's supposed to be all this business-like crew call meeting thing. Seriously, it's going to be our after party.
I'm like,
Right?
I got all stressed. I start seeing all these agendas and things. And I'm like, oh, this is supposed to be drinking with my girlfriend's fine.
Okay, so I will explain. We'll get to that part in a minute, and then you guys can jump in as we go. So number one, if you didn't watch the last episode, you now notice there are 3 of us. Deke has moved on to bigger and bigger projects,
Like
bigger and better
better.
projects, bigger and better projects
Bigger and bigger.
that are better for him.
Yeah.
He's got a lot happening with their small batch hummus that he really wanted to take advantage of. Between that, he's a dad, so there's like family obligations. Like there's so much going on that he just realized that he couldn't devote the amount of time that he wanted to be able to participate in everything that we're doing. Yeah. And because we are going to be more mobile this year, hence our entry code for the VIP lounge, mentioned from the last one, we are planning to be a little more mobile. Those are kind of things that he wouldn't always be able to join us with anyways. So it's just one of those things that where he was going with his business and what we were planning to do, it just didn't. So, but every time that he happens to be in town or coming out to a show, when he's there, he'll be showing up here and there when he can.
So how about a little toast?
Yay!
Happy success, or much success for 2019, because we're cheering you on.
And eating the hummus,
And eating the hummus, that's right.
which I saw at Smith's Market in South End.
Yeah, and actually I saw during the holidays he's now in North Bay too.
Yes.
At one of the stores in North Bay, so good for him. Okay, so I mentioned about going mobile. So we're going to be, when I say mobile, we're going to be mobile. So you can't see it. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, we're sitting in my main living room where people don't normally sit very often.
I'm afraid of it. I've never times I've been here, I've never been in this room. And I might spill. I don't know, you people who are listening can't see, but I don't have Rory with me today because I'm like, we're in the white room. I can't bring Rory in the white room.
They call it the white room. I just like it's light and airy. And
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So I mean, compared to what it used to be, it was really dark. And then I love the idea because we have big windows. I really wanted to capitalize on the light in here. And this is where our Christmas tree always is every year. So then we have extra sparkle. And I said, even though we were taping just after January, I'm leaving my damn tree up for another week, right, to enjoy it. So because we were going to be in here and stuff, I brought it upstairs so you can't necessarily see it. But I have like this rolling bag. It's kind of like a briefcase type bag. But everything I'm going to need pretty much is going to fit in there. So the mixer with the mics, little portable stands if we need a second camera for the phone, my computer, any promotional stuff that we need, everything can fit in this rolling bag. So now when it's time for us to tape a show, I essentially can just reel this bag wherever we need to go. So we'll be popping up at a lot of places that you may not expect or you might expect. So not just here in Sudbury, Northern Ontario. I want us to go to North Bay for the day. I want us to go to Manitoulin Island. Friends of ours were here from Newmarket yesterday, and they're trying to set us up not just to go to Newmarket to tape episodes, but they're trying to set up a live show for us later in the spring. He's also talking Aurora and other areas down in Toronto as well. Mike's got plans. He's going to be our pseudo agent down in Southern Ontario.
Where are you, Mike?
Yeah, but we're going to be in Niagara, which we'll talk about shortly. So there's going to be a lot of times where we're going to be on the road. And as opposed to us taping in the studio, which is fun because we just sit around and catch up, we thought how cool it would be that we're sitting at a bar someplace. And then, so if there's listeners or other listeners or viewers on YouTube who happen to follow us on the VIP lounge or whatever and hear where we're going to be, just taping the episode, if you want to come and sit and have a drink with us, kind of watch what we're doing, it's not going to be a live show per se. So it's going to be like what you see or hear now, where the 3 of us will be sort of sitting around covering a particular topic. Sometimes we'll have guests. I'd like to have more guests coming on this year, if possible. And then if that guest is there and they happen to be an expert in a particular topic, if you're there for the taping, you can hang out with us and have a drink after. You can chat with the guests or ask questions. We're always looking for people to have drinks with us. We're very easy to please. Have a drink with us and we're good. And we're good, right? Okay. So we want to have those things. We're also going to have larger events as well. We want to do more things on the road. We want to showcase not just Ontario, but we want to showcase things beyond. So we're going to try doing a little more road trips and scheduling things as we're going. We're not sure how far we're going yet, but we're going to work up to it as we go.
See what the budget entails.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But offsite tapings are big ones. One time we might do meetups and there might be a particular topic or something that could be about travel or a particular culture or something like that we really want to showcase. And I think it'd be kind of cool for us to go and just say, okay, everyone in this particular town, because we're there's a really hot topic. If anyone wants to come out and chat about it, we'll have it almost like a town hall type event where we'll just sort of sit around and hash out a topic, and we'll bring in guests to maybe answer questions and things like that. I think that'd be kind of fun too.
And maybe one day we'll all go on a trip together.
It's happening.
It's happening. Like
I know.
a trip.
I know. I pity that town. Okay.
trip, guys. A trip. Like,
No, I want to do big trip too.
Yep.
Okay, so the other thing, so speaking of big events, I thought it was fitting that if we were going to do our first big event, we were going to do it here in our little hometown. Cynthia's already dancing because she's excited.
yes.
Okay, so it's called Flavor Fest, if we haven't mentioned it before. So kind of tying in with the podcast name, of course. But we are very, very proud of and always trying to cheer on our local establishments here in Northern Ontario. We eat out a lot, as you could probably expect. And we want to support the businesses that are here. And we know that sometimes it's difficult for people to cheer themselves on. So having other people do that and organizing it for them. And we know that restaurateurs and bar owners are so busy and working strange hours. They don't necessarily have time to sit there and come up with ideas and help promote things, right? To do this kind of stuff. So instead of just doing like, a regular evening event, because that would just be small cakes.
That's just what everybody does.
And that's not what we're doing. We're doing a whole weekend. So if you happen to be in Northern Ontario traveling that way or want to come up for the weekend, there's going to be hotel packages available. There's going to be the city and Sudbury Tourism are getting involved. There's going to be things from specialty competitions to like fun little game type places. There's going to be prefix menus. There's going to be local specials down to even today. I said I just heard from Topper's Pizza, who is originally based from Sudbury, but it's a big pizza chain that's like just taking off beyond Ontario. Like they're doing so well and they're so huge and they kind of got their start here. So it was kind of fitting that they got back and they said, of course. So there's going to be Topper's Pizza prizes at different games and things happening throughout the weekend, as well as they're going to have a particular specials only for people in Sudbury that can order here that weekend, which I thought was very cool.
So if you come to Sudbury and actually stay in a hotel, you can actually order your pizza.
You can have the whole, so
after
give you an
the
idea, if
evening.
you're not familiar with, so I can just I'm picturing a whole day.
Yes.
Where you go to like the oyster shucking competition at Lot 88. And then you go and
That's
head on
gonna be
Saturday
so much
afternoon,
fun.
you do porchetta bingo.
Oh.
Right? Late after, porchetta bingo. And then you can go for dinner maybe at Respect is Burning or at, I'm trying to think of how many different places that are going to be.
Goodness.
There's so many. All these other restaurants are going to have on their own specials. And then you can even go to, and then late evening after you do the Alibi Room for their event, and then we're going to have a big tasting event for high-end stuff at Verdicchio. Then the late evening stuff, you go back to your hotel and you order in Topper's Pizza. There's no
Stretchy pant weekend,
exactly.
people. Stretchy pants.
So it's going to be all the things that we love about food and drink in this city all in one weekend. There's going to be a whole calendar of events. There's going to be prizes and contests. We're doing a virtual scavenger hunt. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff. And then, of course, we're going to tape little segments here and there throughout the weekend so that you can always, so later on, if you missed a certain event or whatever, you'll be able to catch up on it on YouTube, which I thought would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think we had chatted earlier about possibly filling some time during the day with different displays and times
like
to do different
demonstrations.
That's the word.
So, I mean, we can talk about this later for our crew call thing, but I was kind of thinking that if I get the kitchen, like a big demo kitchen, that throughout the entire day, I have different chefs and instructors all have time slots throughout the day where you can go in and actually go and just watch an impromptu demo of something. That'd be kind of cool, right?
I love that.
I think that's great. And so then if you're in from out of town, you can choose which demonstrations you want to go do. You may want to take in a lunch somewhere, an event, or then go and see a demonstration. What a great weekend.
You can pretty much, like, if you love food, if there's going to be, you can, like, I want to go to this one and this one and this one. I'll have suggested itineraries that, like, if you're going to do a girls' weekend, right? Here's a whole pile of fun stuff that you can be doing, right? I know Sue's going to do something at the Cedar Nest. I am trying to convince somebody in town to do a busy brunch on Sunday.
Hey.
I'll have to split it. But yeah, anyways, follow the Facebook page. Either our Facebook page has the link to it, or you could just look up Flavor Fest and then you'll be able to find it. So follow us along on that page and you'll get all the details. So every time that I have We have somebody new that says, okay, we're doing this. So I haven't listed all of the restaurants yet, because until their events are finalized, as in, yes, this is how much it is, this is how much we're charging for tickets, that kind of thing, I don't want to promote them too quickly. So as we're getting all that information, so we will be at the events. The plan is that at all of the major events, that the many is that the three of us can squeeze in. So she might be emceeing at one event. Cynthia might be judging a competition at another event. I might be hosting and introducing at another event. So that the three of us will be at all different events through the entire weekend. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for you to be on camera and kind of participate that way. Come play with us and come and eat with us and all that kind of fun stuff. So Flavor Fest is going to be cool.
And we're all going to try to shuck an oyster at some point.
Oh, are you kidding? I tried to get. She's laughing because I had oysters last night.
My kids shucking though.
I had her kids shucking, and you shucked one.
I did.
But you didn't. Oh, and you ate one.
I did one of Mike's fancy Southern American.
Yeah. Putting it on the cracker with his hot sauce and his seafood sauce. Yeah, just mask the taste.
Actually earned some cool points with my kid. My daughter was like, she wouldn't eat them, she wouldn't try them. And I went, whatever. I followed it with a shot of tequila.
That's what she didn't. She made it sound like the tequila was waiting there. She actually squeaked out after she ate it. She just goes, tequila. So I'm like running to go and grab my. So of course in my house there happens to be a bottle of tequila just around the corner of the table.
And my daughter looks at me like, Mom, that was badass. I went, you're freaking right, I'm badass. Now it's your turn.
And she had one too.
She did. I think after she saw me, she's like, okay, now I gotta try it.
And she said it wasn't that bad, and she liked the hot sauce on it. So that was so it was a good. So his version, or how he does his oysters, that's how. And it all started because the last time he was here and he was talking about oysters, he started talking about when he lived in the southern states.
Right.
When he played competitive hockey, he was talking about how in the southern states, he's like, well, don't you have premium pressed crackers? And I went, not in my house.
Oh my God, they're staple in our house.
I don't have saltines. I should have saltines.
No, she doesn't have soda biscuits because she's got gougères with her soup. Whereas the rest of us have premium plus crackers.
I didn't have the gougères yesterday with the soup.
If I want to get excited, I go for the rounds now.
Oh,
that goes over the cake. Yeah. I just like, whoo, I'm going to go premium plus rounds. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so out of it. I didn't even know that. That's bad. You can tell I don't buy crackers very often. Okay, so let's talk about the other couple of fun things. We'll talk about the VIP lounge next. Okay, so here's the idea for the VIP lounge, and this is how I explained it to Stacy earlier, because I've already talked to Cynthia about it. So the reason we wanted to do this VIP lounge is we want to have more conversations with you, our listeners, or you, our viewers. We want to hear what you're liking about food stuff. If you happen to find a new place and want to share it with us, that's great. And I think that if we have a place that we can all kind of meet up on an ongoing basis, now when I'm doing, I told her, I said, I will do a contest on Instagram and somebody's winning the prize that may or may not even be listening to our show, and it's something that's branded or whatever. And I just thought, no, I really want to have it so the people who are listening and supporting us are the ones who get the prizes.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? So by having this VIP lounge, now we know that everyone who's joined this lounge has listened to at least one of our episodes or watched one on YouTube, which is, that's all we ask, right? Just kind of check us out. See, check it out. So the way it works, if you haven't listened to the last episode or you're not following us on social media, and you should be, is to, you'll see there's an entry code below. So every month there's going to be a new one. So the deal is that please enter this entry code and join the VIP lounge group, secret group. It's not a secret group, a closed group. Enter it now before the end of the month. So, because in February, I'm going to do a new one.
And the password's going to change.
The password's going to change. But once you're in, you're in. You don't have to keep going back every month. So now if you've listened to this, you just have to, it'll be on the YouTube version as well as it'll be on this audio version. So it was on last week's, the last episode as well. And then it's going to show up, of course, for the next couple episodes in January. And then as you're there and talking about the, once you're in, you're ready to go. But you'll see as soon as you apply, request membership approval, it asks you for the entry code. So just make sure that it's really easy. It's mobile. Remember I said we're going to be mobile in January?
Mobile this year.
Mobile. So mobile is the entry code to get in.
You need to get mobile to work off all these gougères.
Yeah, and then we can also see other things. Because it's tied in through Facebook, we can now see where you're from.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. So now if we see that there's a whole pile of people coming from a particular town or something like that, we'll start doing more shows there. So that's kind of what we're looking at, and we can have that more interaction. And then people who are listening to the show, now we can get more feedback through live feeds and things about what you would like to see, what topics, if you have a particular guest you want to recommend to us, if you there's a new brewery opening up that you really want us to check out, we're in. But those kind of things, I think that having that kind of information and coming from the people who are listening and want to see our show develop, this is a great opportunity for you to take part. And then you can kind of point out to us saying, like, Steph, you really shouldn't be wearing that shirt anymore. So we think about it. So I'm talking about New Year's
Someone
resolution.
get Cynthia makeup artist.
And me too.
Cynthia says that's when we know that we've made it, is we're going to have somebody off camera doing our hair and makeup.
Someday we're gonna have a hair and makeup person. It's gonna make me so happy. That's all I know.
That's our goal.
That's our
That's our. Never mind these lofty goals of being famous or making lots of money.
just want help.
I just want a hair and makeup person.
I just want help.
She's made it win.
short goals. It's like, well, that's easy. Okay, so another couple of things. You're also going to see in the bottom of the screen now that when each of us are speaking or something, you're going to see we're going to have Twitter handles on the bottom as well. So now you can actually, not only can you reach out to us directly, like for the podcast in general, but if you want to have contact or have a question for any one of us directly, you'll be able to have our Twitter handles on there as well. So you can tweet at us when you need to indirectly. So if you want to tell me something you don't want her to hear, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because we never look at each other's Twitter.
Because we never look at each other's Twitter feed. Exactly.
So you just have to understand, I am not techie. So
I coached her on a little stuff before the show today.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
That's okay. I'm learning as I go as well.
Yeah.
Like this is like, there's too many things. Like somebody else was talking to me about another platform the other day, and they're like, "Well, are you going to do this?" I'm like, "Well."
Another one? Holy crap!
Well, you mentioned Snapchat the other day,
Yeah.
and I get it. I understand the idea of Snapchat. I'm thinking, but I don't know if that's just one extra thing for me to do. It's bad enough I'm bringing on Pinterest into my life.
I can't even log into all the Instagram accounts I have on my phone anymore. Because I have my son, I've got my business, I've got my personal one, I've got my dog.
Oh,
because Rory has her own.
Yes, I
At
see that.
Duchess Rory.
Yes.
And now Flying for Flavor, and there was a sixth one. I was just like, oh,
Legacy
yeah,
Service Academy.
Legacy Service Academy. So I literally don't have any more room in my app for any more Instagrams. Never mind more.
I
Twitters
need to
and
start
Facebooks.
more pages. What am I doing?
No, you don't.
I need to figure it out. I got to figure the ones I
I'm not
have
active
out
enough
first.
on any of them.
Okay, so let's talk a little more about the VIP lounge. So we're going to have contest prizes and discounts only for VIP lounge members. So if we have particular businesses that we're working with or brands that we're affiliated with throughout the year, if they have specials or whatever, or giveaways or things like that, we're going to have them geared towards our VIP members first. When we have live events and shows or anything else that we have to offer the general public for sale, tickets go on sale, that kind of thing, we're going to put the links to the show notes to buy, or the live show to buy the tickets to the VIP lounge members first. Then we will be launching it publicly for everybody else. So you're going to get a lot more first before other people will.
More behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, like we've already posted, because I mean, we just launched it it's only been a couple days, technically. By the time we're taping this, it's only been a couple days that it's been up. But we had, I already posted our ice wine festival route that we're doing in Niagara, which I'll talk about more in a minute. So we're going to do that. But I had like behind the scene, like quick little videos, like here's the setup of how we're doing this. And I want to start having a little more interaction about, okay, we're going to do our crew call at this particular time. If you happen to be on Facebook or whatever, you want to kind of join us for our little team meeting that we're going to have after, team meeting / after party, that you can kind of log on to back onto the lounge page at this particular time. So there's going to be those kind of things going on. Going to be more behind the scenes clips and photos. I'm not going to hide as much. Heads up on where we're taping our shows. Remember I said we're going to be more mobile, and we might tape at a certain coffee shop. It might be at a bar here, whatever. But at least you'll know first of where we're going to be, and you happen to be in the area and you want to come and hang out with us. That's what you can do. I also opportunities to help choosing future episodes and guests. So as much as I used to be or try to be overly organized with what episodes are coming up and predict them for, everything seems to change. Now if I can get
She has to work with Stacy and I. That doesn't make it any easier.
No, there's also between like certain guests can only come on certain times, or like this one is going to take too long to edit because there's special things I need to add in, or there's always things. So it's just easier sometimes if I can only forecast here's the topics that are going to be covered in the next few weeks. Yeah. And it may not be in that particular order. Yeah. So that's why I took off the order of the upcoming episodes on the website. It just made it easier that way. So like even my Temecula, the Temecula wine region episode, that was originally supposed to be like almost like for this episode.
Yeah.
Now it's getting bumped a couple of weeks because the one after this is now going to be the St. Lucia episode because I already told people in St. Lucia, gave them the date of that one. So now Temecula is getting bumped. Anyways, that's how my schedule goes. But now that we're talking about these different episodes and the different topics, we may have a couple of things or topics that come up as we're discussing things, or we're having a team meeting and then you guys can chime in and say, hey, I really think it'd be cool if you did a show on this. We might be saying, oh my God, that's awesome. Let's move that. Yeah. And we'll replace that. So we're looking for input. So what kind of things that you want to learn, you want to talk about, maybe things, pet peeves that you want to get off your chest or you want us to address. Like silly questions, like stickers.
Remember the flies in your soup.
Remember the fly in the soup?
It is the fly in the soup.
The fly in the soup is our chance to vent. But so we had the fly in the soup. That was always a venting thing. Sometimes it could be just little trivia things. Sometimes you're always saying, like, I really wonder why this thing happens at an airport or something. And then maybe we can find an expert to kind of answer those questions for you. So those are kind of things that we're looking at. But we just need more input from you so we can, or else we're just going to pick our own shit and you're just going to have to follow along with it. So the last thing would be in private get-togethers. Like I want to do little things like spontaneously this summer. Like, hey, let's just invite all our VIP listeners to my patio.
You're a brave woman.
Why not?
That would be fun. We just don't know who's gonna. You know what? We'll have people coming in having to like do a tent in the backyard.
Stalkers.
I have a pretty big patio in the back.
So
Excellent.
basically, the VIP lounge is where you go if you want to stalk Stephanie.
Yes.
No, but there's a lot of things like I want to be able to have those kind of conversations, and we might say, hey, the three of us decide we're going to. There's a cool little event thing. Let's go to that. We'll message you saying, hey, we're going to go to this. We might do some tapings while we're there. If you want to go too, let us know, right? Yeah. And we'll have access to that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I want to do by my private get-togethers. Like we're going to be in Niagara. It's a good segue. But we're in Niagara on the first weekend of Ice Wine Festival. Yeah, so there's a 3-weekend event. So we're going to be there that first weekend, opening weekend. Like we rented a house through Airbnb. Right? Not necessarily saying we're going to have a house party yet because I kind of promised the owners they wouldn't have an already pass. But we might be, we're going to be at local restaurants and stuff. Yeah. And we may just say, hey, for those of you who are down in the Ice Wine Festival, if you happen to be down here, come and meet us or we're going to be here. Right? And then if we have some connections with other, like, you know, some other wine bloggers and folks that we know, we're going to invite them too. So it could end up being quite the little bash at certain times.
Just not at our Airbnb.
We can't necessarily be at the Airbnb. I don't remember. I'll have to go back to the description and see if that house, because sometimes they have that selection where it says like no private events, like no parties. I don't know if this one said no parties.
Well, maybe one of our viewers will let us
hey,
have a
you
little
can have
party.
a party and you can invite us. We're fun. We're fun. We're fun. And we bring drinks.
We're fun. We bring the booze.
Everyone's going to say, come to my house. Okay. So then, of course, I mentioned the last thing about the VIP thing, and I can close that off, is that we're going to have these things called that crew call where I mentioned. So when you see us mention crew call, that's a terminology they have in filmmaking and casting or whatever. I had to look it up because I said crew call when I first thought of it. And then I went, I better make sure exactly what the definition of crew call is. But essentially, it's talking about all of the people that are components of the show together to kind of do like a little team meeting of what's going to happen. And that's kind of what we do.
We kind of boss beckons, we come.
No, it's hard for us, the three of us, to find time to meet together any other time.
That's true.
Right? Because we all have our own lives and things going on. So that when we do get together for taping for a show, it just makes sense to let's just have our meeting right after anyways and kind of talk about next episodes and stuff. So those kind of things, if you want to see all of the things that we have to cover and go through to kind of put on a podcast, this is kind of a good opportunity for you. So that someday when you want to create your own podcast, you kind of know behind the scenes how it works. Okay. Speaking of the Ice Wine Festival, that was a bad segue because I actually went back into the other topic again. Niagara. No. We're gonna let it rip. Excuse me, Niagara Ice Wine Festival. So we're gonna be there that first Friday. I think it's at the 10th or 11th or 13th. 11th. So we're gonna drive from Sudbury down to Niagara. So you'll be able to see if you're in the VIP lounge. I'm sure we'll be posting just pictures and videos and. So when I'm in the car, so Cynthia and I have been in the car together. You haven't been in the car. She brings snacks.
And I'm
the
Can I bring my pillow?
everybody has their own way of, okay, we're already kind of, this is going to be interesting. So this will be a fun road trip.
You cope really well with me, actually.
Because she's like, oh, I have to have snacks, I have to have this or whatever, which is fine. And I'm the type of person, like when I go by myself someplace, I barely stop. I stop when I maybe once on the way.
Stop.
This is going to be an issue.
I actually need snacks at the beginning. Once I've got my food and my liquid, I can go for hours.
And you need to stop often?
And tiny bladder needs to pee.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
This
We'll
will
get a
drink
bottle.
before.
There are those things called portable Jane.
No, you're not doing that in my car. Okay. Okay, we will stop.
I know
We're
where
gonna
everyone's
stop.
toilet is from here to like Niagara and back. From traveling with
Well, and at some point, I haven't said our friend Robin's coming. Robin has made appearances on previous episodes. So Robin's coming down with us because we had a spare room in our house. She's the one that told me about the Ice Wine Festival years ago, and I've never got to go. It just timing didn't work out. And her sister lives nearby, so she's probably going to see her sister at some point. Her sister may show up at one of the events with us.
Maybe she has a home where we can have a party.
Oh, I'm not going to go invite myself over to Ginger's house. That would be kind of wrong.
Party at Ginger's.
It's like, hey, I know you haven't seen us in a while, but we're going to come and hang out.
Guess what? We need a place.
I went to high school with Robin's sister. We just found this out yesterday.
I heard.
So I'm like, party at Ginger's. I haven't seen her in 30 years, but I'm sure she won't mind. Not that we partied together then, but let's go try it.
So we just thought, and it was one of those things that she's used to. She knows the wineries. She knows which ones are better for everything. I gave her the schedule and stuff, and she's going to kind of walk us through it. She may not be appearance in the show. She's always said she's going to sit behind the camera, right, when we're taping here and there. Yeah, that's what she did. Well, the very first episode, remember, she sat behind us. She's the one that hit record and hit stop from behind the camera. So, and it's not that she's camera shy. She does get a little quieter on it, but who knows? I also, she'll appear on the social media feeds though, because I had some great shots of her when we were at the Chardonnay Festival last year. Oh, we have to go to that this year too. Yes. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. Okay, so then for VIP members, you'll get the route now. We're going to tackle, so there's 8 wineries we're going to be visiting. All of them through the Discovery Pass have an ice wine pairing with an appetizer, which is going to be fun.
So at a certain point, we can't hit record.
No,
At a certain point where the cameras are all away.
That's not how it works. Okay, so try to be a little bit more patient. So the way that the way we're going to do it, so we can talk later about because you're already talking about how you're already going to need to turn the recording off. Let's just pace things out a little bit.
We're going to record.
Yeah, we got to record and make it fun.
We're going to record.
So
and you're going to have lots of fun with us.
On the way down, I figure if we tackle a couple of wineries, as long as we're leaving early enough, we can tackle a couple of the wineries on our way to go to our Airbnb check-in. So if we do 2 of them the first night, that'll only leave 6 for the next day. If we hit 3 the first day, we only have 5 to do, right? Mm-hmm. They're not massive portions, but at least they're somewhat filling. We could still have a lunch break then and kind of regroup in the middle of it. And then we can have a driver meet us there.
I just confirmed the driver today.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we're going to have a driver for the Saturday, because we can't drink and drive, right?
Gotta be safe.
And if and there's a lot of opportunities or a lot of businesses down in the Niagara area that will actually help you out with like DD type services. We can actually even get a driver to drive my own vehicle, which is kind of cool. So we're going to do that. So we'll have a driver on the Saturday afternoon, but at least I have the route of where we're going to be. So one of the things people don't understand, and this is always surprising when I was talking to Robin about it yesterday, was that a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these wineries have all these kind of programs called Discovery Passes. So for something like $40, I think it was, per person, for $40, you get this sheet of 8 little tear-off tickets that you can use to redeem at any of the participating wineries. That's Niagara-on-the-Lake, 20 Valley, so of different areas. I forget how many wineries are involved, 40 something, I think. And then you present that there and you redeem it for, most of the time, because it's the Ice Wine Festival, you're going to get ice wine with a particular dish that they're featuring that day, like an appetizer, something or other. Some of them, for people who are not massive ice wine drinkers, they do have red wine. So a lot of them had, there were regular wine pairing offerings as opposed to just the ice wine. So you don't have to be drinking just ice wine.
I will try some ice wine, but the idea of 8 glasses of ice wine in a day makes me want to vomit a little bit.
Oh, you think we're only going to have ice wine that day?
There's going to be others.
So the whole idea of these things, it's called a Discovery Pass, that they kind of wet your whistle with this, and then while you're at the winery, you can also try out a couple of other wines. So yes, you can do that sample, but then you can also, if you want to go and have a sample or 2, Or you can just have a sample of, I just want to try this and try that and try that, right, while you're there. So that's the whole idea, is to get you in the door to try the other winery. But for $40, you get all this stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. And they have these things throughout the year. So it's not just Niagara that does that, but there's other wine regions everywhere in North America is going to have something similar. So you just need to go do some research online about where you're going. So that's the whole idea of us showcasing, not just because we wanted to go, well, we kind of wanted just to go on a road trip. But if we wanted to go on a road trip someplace or to another wine region, looking up for things like this where they have these discovery passes is a good alternative to just going to one particular event. If you want to do the high-end event, but we just don't have time to work it into our schedule, but they do have the big gala event on the Friday or Saturday night. But it's a little pricier, but you get all dressed up and it's fancy or whatever, and it's great. We may do that one year, but for our first year, we really wanted the focus to be on getting in as many wineries as we can for that weekend. Yeah, and especially it's the first time that we're bringing the show down there in this extent, so that's kind of what I...
So much fun.
And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I didn't put this in a food processor or blender because we didn't have time for it. So I left it chunky.
So Stephanie's brought in these 3 granita type.
It is going to be, according to most of the experts I found online, the hottest cocktail for 2019. It is the Aperol Frosé. So the Frosé, which is frozen rosé wine, was the big seller this year, as well as the Aperol Spritz has been really big, right? So you can top this up with sparkling. So all I did was I took rosé wine with a little bit of Aperol, put it in a sheet pan, like a brownie pan, froze it for the day, and then I took a spoon and scraped it. So I just scraped it quickly with a spoon. That's why it's in big chunks. But if I did a fork, it would be a little slushier. And then you can actually put it, if you let it freeze solid, you can throw it into a blender quickly and really make it kind of like a pure slush. Then you can drizzle a little bit more Aperol, depending on which rosé you wine. Okay, I'm saying, hey, rosé wine, because I realize my back's towards the camera. Rosé wine, and then a touch more Aperol, and it makes a little slush. And then, of course, I'm using paper straws because I'm trying to be eco-friendly. And
This is very fancy.
Isn't it fancy? We're being all fancy.
I don't know if I've ever been this fancy.
My froth says my froth says stay refreshed.
Mine says thirst quenching.
Mine says fizz fizz.
So I'm thinking, like, there's so many recipes online that you can find for this.
It says bitches. Only for me though, right? Because it's just like, why not?
So you can.
That's all she can say.
Oh, that's good. It's not sweet at all. It's really lovely. We have way too many glasses for the amount of people in this room.
And our drivers will be coming to pick us up later. So do not worry. We are all safe in this room.
Always. Yes. I told you, remember I'm on the first name basis with our local DD server.
This is not surprising.
Isn't it cute? I love it. We're all taking a photo break.
Photos of our drinks.
I don't think I've had anything quite so pretty.
Yeah, it's cute, eh? So this is going to be the cocktail of 2019. So now you all know what an Aperol Frosé is. So you have to look for the Aperol is like a bitter liqueur, similar to a Campari. A little pungent.
That's got kick. That's going to be a slow sipper.
And if you, it's the rosé, well, it's the Aperol. You can always put bubbles in it too.
Bubbles will be good in it too.
Yeah. So then it'll be a little more sparkly. There's all kinds of different recipes out there for it. Some people are putting lemon cordial.
I hope you guys have
Did you get like brain freeze? Did you get brain freeze, or was it too sour?
I don't know. It was a little bit of both. It was just like
Have you ever had Aperol before?
No.
Oh. Okay. I should have warned you. It's a little bitter. Oh, I can zoom in.
Yeah. So Stacy visibly shows.
Anyways, I added extra Aperol just before I served it to you, so you don't always have to do that.
my straw was too far down into the drink.
I think our first sip was just pure Aperol.
Yep.
Wow.
But you can also add more sparkling, and you can add some white wine or whatever else you want to it. So essentially it's frozen rosé wine, and depending what rosé you use, if you use a sweeter rosé, like closer to a white Zinfandel, which I'm not a big fan of, but it would be good frozen, right?
Maybe.
And then you can kind of play around with it. But
I'm
it's
having
fun.
a hard time. I really am.
Oh my God, she's such a newbie. Okay. So I'm having.
We'll break her in.
So sorry.
Okay, so we're gonna finish this and head to our meeting because it's the first one of the year. So now you know the synopsis of what we're doing throughout the year. So we have a lot planned and a lot of miles to cover. Yeah. So again, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on all three. Remember, Facebook, Instagram,
Yes.
Twitter. She's teasing her because of your video.
Oh,
The last episode.
I know it was iHeartRadio because that was the latest.
Oh my God, Stacy's video from last week was freaking funny. Okay.
I was having a couple drinks on my own.
Really?
Yeah, I'm putting my
I
Christmas
couldn't tell at
tree.
You know what's so funny is that your glass was filthy.
Because I was having, because it was a stemless. So I was like, I didn't know how to hold it, right? So it was like, it had all my fingerprints.
Mental note, by Stacy.
Stemware.
Stemware. It's just terrific.
Anyways, that was funny. So anyways, listen to us. So social media is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Soon to be Pinterest. We will let you know. Cynthia is the queen of Pinterest, so we're kind of getting her organizing how the Pinterest thing's going to work. I know how to add things for my own Pinterest page, but that's as much as I know.
I love that this is just half of our glasses then today.
Yeah, I know.
And then, okay, so Pinterest, so Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're also on there personally as well. And then we have the website, flyingforflavor.ca. If you link over to on the right-hand side, because it connects to my own website, pardon me, I'm eating my thing.
Chew and swallow.
A couple of the things that we have so I do blog posts every once in a while. I'm hoping to get these two to also be contributing for little things once in a while when they have time, because they're both actually pretty good writers too. They just don't tell anybody, but they are. So I would like them to either, if they have an idea travel-wise they want to share, those kind of things. So we want to have more content in the blog. And then there's a newsletter that goes out quarterly. It used to be just mine from my website, but now it's more geared towards the podcast. So it only goes out quarterly, and it tells you about upcoming shows, behind-the-scenes stuff, gives you a synopsis of here's all the different events and things coming up in the next quarter, so you can kind of plan accordingly. To sign up for that, you'll actually see at the bottom of the Flying for Flavor page, you'll just see my face where it says sign up here. It's really easy to do. You click on sign on here. And I have to promise you that when you sign up for the newsletter, that's all you get. Yeah, I'm a big advocate of you're not going to get 20 emails from me a month. No. You're going to get the quarterly newsletter. That's it. If there might be a special, like, hey, just letting you know our live show's coming up, I'll send you a quick little one pager type thing. But aside from that, your newsletter is just a newsletter. That's it. We don't do anything else with it. Because I know how full my inbox is, and I would do that to you. Yeah. So then, if you're listening to us on podcasts, because you're all probably podcast fans by now, you're listening to us on all the podcast players. We're not going to get Stacy to list them all because that'll take too long.
It's just going to take forever.
Anyways, pretty much every podcast player that's out there. Every once in a while I find another one that I kind of sign us up for. So we're pretty much on all of the devices now. So podcast players, and then of course now on YouTube. So again, if you didn't pay attention to the first part and you couldn't remember what the entry code is for the VIP lounge, it is, ladies,
mobile.
So it's all you have to do is enter that in, and then you can join us in the VIP lounge, and we'll start contests and prizes and stuff like that probably next week sometime. Yay! But yeah, so then once you're in there, you get to go on the crew call and you get to know what the next week's stuff is. So until then, now that we have cocktails and bubbles, these are so pretty. Cheers. Even though they're kind of bitter, but they'll get used to it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Happy New Year's.
Thanks so much for watching this video. We love putting it together. It's so much fun. All of our favorite things, good food, good drinks, a lot of travel talk, and we put it all together in one fun show. So make sure you follow us here, click on the videos below, follow, subscribe, and find us on your favorite podcast player. We'll see you on our next trip.